Hi, it's Nell, and today I'm going to be talking all about Philodendron Brazil care, so stick around for that. So if you like videos about gardening, both indoors and outdoors, be sure to subscribe and come back for more. And if you do subscribe and you do come back, I thank you very much. And I'm going to cover these points pretty fast because I do a detailed blog post to go with every video, and that'll be right down at the top of the description box. You can find the link to the blog post there, and also on my website, JoyUsgarden.com. So it's been a while since I've done a video or a new blog post. I'm going to tell you what's going on. In case you're not interested or you're new to this channel and you just want all the care, I'll put the minute and second mark where you can skip to avoid this public service announcement. So when I last filmed a video quite a few weeks ago, I told you that I was working on a project. And the project that I was working on was buying a house. So I bought a house. It's a really crazy market. Took, time to find it, and then the paperwork to go through it, and it needs quite a bit of updating. So I have to get some stuff done before I can even move in, and just the amount of paperwork that you have to sign every day or twice a day or 3 times a day is crazy when you buy a house, if you've ever done that. And now I am in the midst of selling this house. I bought first and now I am selling. This is under contract, but you never know if it's going to be a done deal until it records. So fingers crossed. Whew. This plant is so light, it really is easy to care for. And I was going to do this video in January on this plant when I got in my new home, but I thought I missed you guys, so I just wanted to do a video and talk a little bit about this gorgeous beauty right here, who is just growing and growing. Although it will be the cooler, somewhat darker months, so it will not be growing as fast now, because the winter is the time for plants to take a little rest. And then if buying and selling weren't enough, I did some restructuring tax-wise on my business, which took a lot of paperwork and time too. So I just feel like I don't have a lot of paperwork. Almost everything I do is in the clouds. I write and I do that, but to have to sign and look at things and do it like that, it's like, So I feel recovered from that. I was out of it. I was dazed for like 2 or 3 weeks. I was like, ugh, all this stuff going on in my head. So I just didn't feel like doing a video. And if the past couple of videos I seemed a little scattered, that's because that is the reason. But I don't think I'll be getting back to a regular schedule until January, because the closing, I think, is supposed to be on the 2nd or the 3rd. I can stay here a couple of weeks after that because I have to get all new flooring in my new house. So I'm going to get that taken care of. So probably won't be back to a regular filming schedule until January. And then there's that minor detail, those minor details called packing and moving. So I have to do that. Oh, by the way, I'm not leaving Tucson. I'm staying. I'm just going to go like a mile away. So it's not a major move like I did last time when I moved from Santa Barbara to Tucson. This is really, really close. So it's so much easier. And I can take all of my plants in pots, both indoors and outdoors. So that's really exciting. And my house is a little bit bigger that I'm going to be moving into and brighter, so I can get more houseplants. And the garden's really big outside, much bigger than this, but and it has more shade too, which is an advantage here in sunny sunny, hot old Tucson. So what I'm going to try to do is do a tour of the garden here before I leave. It's not looking as good as it has in the past few years, 2 or 3 years, because it was a very hot and dry summer, and the pack rats had at almost everything. So most things still look okay, but a few not so much. And then I will also give you a tour of my new garden before I start anything on it. So those will probably be those video that I'll do that as one video, and it'll probably be posting sometime in mid-December. Okay, on to the good stuff about this plant. It is one of the heartleaf, philodendrons. I also have silver stripe. I will show you a picture of that, or else there'll be a picture in the blog. This one, Brazil, is very popular right now. It has beautiful chartreuse patterning in the center of the leaf. The outside of the leaf is a dark green. And what is fun is that no two leaves are the same in terms of the patterning and the variegation. And here is my philodendron silver stripe. You can see it has that same heart leaf. It's just not chartreusey. It's a little bit more of a ivory, light green, variegation. And I've had this one for about 7 months, and it is grown like crazy. It's almost hitting the floor. And this plant is either a hanging plant or a tabletop plant. I have it on a floating shelf. It can also be trained to grow up and over a bamboo hoop or moss poles or a piece of bark. So in terms of size, they most commonly come in a 6-inch pot. This was a hanging pot. I took the wire hanger off of it. I've also seen them in 4-inch and also 8-inch pots. Mine is currently about 3 to 4 feet long. And I don't know ultimately how long they get, but my silver stripe, the one that's very similar to this one, is about 5 to 6 feet long. So I imagine this one can get to, I would hazard a guess, at 8 to 10 feet. If anybody knows for sure, you can let us know. And in terms of growth rate, it's a fast grower. This one is about 1 year and maybe 9 months I've had it. I'm not quite sure ultimately how old it is, but it has grown. It was about this long, when I got it, and it's grown this much. It grows fast. But if it's in lower light, it'll be slower. Now, speaking of light, this one likes bright, natural light like a lot of houseplants do. It doesn't like to be in any hot, direct sun at all. Mine is on that floating shelf in my kitchen. There's patio doors, east exposure. There's a skylight not too far away, so it's not direct at all, but it's nice and bright there. And that is what helps to keep the variegation. If you have it in lower light or low light, it's going to lose a lot of this beautiful patterning that this plant is so popular for. And in terms of where I have this plant, I'm going to take you into my kitchen and show you right now. So here it is. It's hitting the top of my neon pothos. And it's next to the Monstera minima, which I had to stake up because it was starting to pull the roots out of the pot. And my Hoya caryi, which I recently did a post and video on. And I'll just show you the neon pothos. It really started to trail this summer. It's going to hit the floor soon. There's Sylvester's dish and water bowl, and there is Sylvester. Watering. I let it almost dry out in between waterings, but not all the way, because it'll really go limp if it dries out. So In the summer, I water it about every 6 to 7 days. I am here in Tucson where it's hot. Fortunately, we are not hot anymore. Yay. And in the winter, it's about every probably 14 days or so. And you can adjust to whatever your home environment is. I have done a guide to watering indoor plants. There's a lot of variables that go into it. The guide to that, the link to that will be down below and also in the blog post. In terms of temperature, average home temperatures are just fine. I tend to keep my house on the warmer side. Just be sure to keep it away from any hot or cold drafts like air conditioning or heating vents. You don't want it right next to or near them. The wind is picking up, so you're going to hear my seashell chimes chattering away over there. What was I going to talk about? Humidity. Even though this plant is native to the tropics, it does well in our dry homes. I am in the desert where the humidity is sometimes 5%, 8%. I didn't check what the humidity was today. It's been right about 12 to 14%. But despite that fact, it doesn't have any brown tips at all, so it can handle the dry air. Okay, I wanted to do a little close-up so you can see just how pretty the foliage is. We're going to move on to soil and repotting. This is an epiphytic plant. You've heard me talk about those before. They climb up other plants, so it likes a very rich but well-drained soil, one that has a lot of coco coir or peat in it. You want a peat-based houseplant soil mix. You can also add some perlite or some pumice to aid in the drainage. I would add compost into it so it would be rich, and I might even add some cocoa chips. But I'll give you some soil mix alternatives for this plant in the blog post. And in terms of repotting, it's best to do it in spring, summer, early fall, especially if early fall is just fine. If you're in a warmer climate like I am, I repot up until the end of October, but spring and summer are best. And I go up one pot size on these. So this one is in a 6-inch pot. I would repot this one into an 8-inch grow pot. And in terms of training, I touched briefly on this. You can train it to go upright with bamboo hoops, trellis, stakes, moss pole, piece of bark, and you will have to attach the stems on somehow. When I do that, I use a jute string. Pruning. You would do pruning to control the length of this plant if it was getting leggy and you would want it to be bushy, or if you were to propagate it. And if you are going to prune, just make sure your pruners are clean and sharp. So in terms of propagating, how I propagate this plant is by stem cuttings. It propagates very easily. It's like some of the other plants, like I just did the one on the Sweetheart Hoya. It also has the nodes on the stems. Let's see, you're going to be able to see, yes. That is a node there. That is where the root is going to emerge from, and you would want that in water. And then over time, actually these root really fast, you'll see roots appearing. So just in case you're new to propagating by stem cuttings, I'm going to show you my Swiss cheese vine, which I meant to do a propagation and potting up, video on this, but I just got too crazy with things. But this is the same, it's in the same family as the Philodendron Brazil, and you can see there are the nodes, and this is how nicely formed the roots are. They just come right off of there. And you can either propagate your Philodendron Brazil, bazooka, Philodendron Brazil in either water like that, or you can plant it in a very light soil mix. So in terms of fertilizing and feeding, I do it like all my other houseplants except for bromeliads, orchids, and air plants. I don't feed them the same, but again, I've done a video and a blog post about that, so I will leave the link down below and also in the blog post that goes along with this video. And in terms of pests, mine has never gotten any so far, but when I was an interior plant maintenance person, that's how I started my horticultural career, the heartleaf philodendron, which was the solid green one, would be susceptible to mealybugs and also spider mite. And I imagine it could get scale too, so just keep your eyes open for any insects, and I have done posts on all those, on mealybugs, spider mites, and scale. So I hope you have found this video about caring for and growing a Philodendron Brazil to be helpful. I have more videos coming your way, not on a regular basis for the next month or two, but I will be back all about gardening, both indoors and outdoors. I thank you for all your likes and your subscribes. I really appreciate them. Now let's get out in our gardens or into our indoor gardens and make our worlds a more beautiful place. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye!